Blake Lively is an actress and mom of four who's known for having a healthy and well-balanced lifestyle. And she's also known for being in really good shape. So I wanted to explore her workout routine and nutrition tips and decide if I thought they were reasonable and achievable or completely unrealistic for your average person. Hey mamas, Alexandria here, 35-year-old toddler mom, therapist, and gym rat. I lost nearly 40 pounds postpartum and it changed my life. So my goal now is to help other mamas and other women to be the best versions of themselves and to reach their goals. So when I discovered that Blake Lively's sort of go-to workout routine was available online, as well as lots of nutrition tips and tricks that she gives, I was really, really curious as a mom of only one child myself, to see that she is a mom of four trying to live a fit and healthy lifestyle. I'm like, yeah, girl, you get it. So trainer basically said that she'll work out anywhere from 30 to 75 minutes, depending on how much time she has, which as a mom of four, that makes perfect sense that some days she has time and some days she doesn't. And they also mentioned that she goes to spin and things like that a couple of days a week as well. But we're going to perform her sort of go-to workout. It looks to be about maybe 30 to 40 minutes in duration. It's a little hard to tell just, until I actually do the workout. So let's go do the workout and then I'll circle back and we'll talk about what I thought about the workout as well as her nutrition. And there's some really good nutrition stuff, but there's also some stuff that I am not on board with. So we're going to talk about all of that. So I'm going to go work out now and I'll see you guys in a minute. And we're back. A little bit sweaty. I can't decide if my hair is cute or weird, but it doesn't matter. So let's talk through the workout. So the workout ended up being about 25 minutes. And I'm going to sort of talk you through the workout and I will link the articles below too. So we started out with some mobility yoga type poses. We did some child's pose, a 90-90 hip stretch, which felt really, really nice, and a hip flexor stretch, which was supposed to hold for 20 seconds, which felt nice. And I should really hold that stretch more often. I'm realizing this says cats and dogs, and I read that as cat cow, and I don't know if they're different. So editing Alexandria will have to let you know if those are different or not. And then I did some, it says flood slides. Again, there's another typo here. I believe that to be floor slides and 10 reps of those. Those look easy. It's just lay your arms on the floor, but you're supposed to keep your arms on the floor. And that was surprisingly difficult for my shoulder mobility. I was like, girl, you need to do something about this shoulder mobility. So I'll be doing those more often. I'm definitely going to start incorporating those a bit more into my own personal routine. Then we did 3 rounds with a 1-minute rest in between rounds. She didn't list her weights, or the article didn't list what weights she's using. I imagine those change, depending on the day and all that sort of stuff. But she didn't list hers, so I used what I would typically use. And I think based on just the amount of time under tension, I could have gone a bit heavier than I did. I used my sort of typical, and I think I could have gone a bit heavier just given that the max, it was 8 to 10 reps, and I'm accustomed to doing more 12 to 15 reps. And so because of that, I feel because the time under tension was shorter, I probably could have gone a little heavier. But we did push-ups. It says 5 to 10 reps. I did 10 reps. Broad jumps, 5 reps. That was actually kind of fun, but I felt like I was flailing in the air, and I'm not sure I did it right. So enjoy that footage. That's really all I can say about that. But I did have fun doing that. It was a nice little change of pace. I did a farmer's carry. It says 25 steps. I watched people on YouTube and various places do farmer's carry. And I don't know if my weights weren't heavy enough, but I felt like I was just walking the first round. I'm like, this is weird. This doesn't feel like it's doing anything. So I used more of a squat or a bend in the second 2 rounds. I don't know which is correct. Then we did dumbbell deadlifts. This says right reps, again, another typo. I believed that to be 8 reps, so that's what I did. Then a dumbbell press. It says flat dumbbell press. I assumed that to mean not on a bench in any way. I assume that meant flat on the floor and not elevated in any sort of way. Then goblet squats for 10 reps and then a bent over row for 12 reps. And like I mentioned before, it says she's usually spending anywhere between 30 and 75 minutes working out 5 days a week. And I believe that based on the workout that I just did, that feels like a pretty good, solid, full body workout. And I honestly think if you're a mom or you're super busy, this might actually be the perfect workout for you. to sort of incorporate throughout your week, especially if you're combining it with some cardio. It sounds like for Blake, she does cycling. I don't like bicycles in any capacity, moving or non-moving. So I personally do not enjoy the bicycle. I'm just too short. I have some core trauma from it. Doesn't matter. So I don't like to bicycle. So if I'm going to incorporate cardio, it's going to look a little different for me. It's most likely going to be a HIIT or something like that. But I honestly think this is a pretty solid, perfect workout to build strength for, sort of your everyday person. So I was really excited to see that. So like I said, I really enjoyed the workout. I think I would, incorporate that a bit more often. It ended up being about 25 minutes. I didn't take any specific rest. I only rested basically with that 1 minute duration. And then the rest period in between exercises for me was however long it took me to transition to the next exercise. So, you may choose more or less time, and it would take you more time depending on how much rest you took in between sets. I just didn't really feel like I needed it today, and some of that may have had to do with my recovery. My Whoop strap said that was an 11.6. So pretty good, pretty moderate in terms of intensity of workout. Now let's talk about her nutrition stuff. Now there's a lot of stuff I really liked, but there was one thing in particular that really, I didn't like it, and we'll talk about why. So let's talk about the good first. So she limits alcohol. I think this is great. I mean, honestly, we know the impacts of alcohol. I did a video quite a while back talking about Jaclyn Hill quitting alcohol, and I talked a lot about how the body is impacted by alcohol and all that sort of stuff. So I'll link that video if you want to go watch that one, and we'll dive more into that. But she limits her alcohol intake, which again is probably wise. There's no evidence to suggest that any amount of alcohol is good for your body. And also when you think about calories, a lot of alcohol is relatively calorie dense, and obviously it's not offering any sort of nutritional value. So that's a good one. Then this is my girl. She never skips breakfast. Y'all hear me preach about this all the time in my other videos. I'm gonna get on my little soapbox again. Never skip breakfast. For me personally, this is a deal breaker for me. I am a cranky, just bee with an itch. Y'all remember when we used to say that? Bzz, shh. That's our way of getting out of cussing. Who did that besides me? Somebody had to have done that besides me. Anyway, she always starts out with eating breakfast every single morning. And the article mentions that she usually does a couple of eggs. So we're prioritizing that protein, which we love. And then some vegetables. I don't personally tend to eat a lot of vegetables in the morning, but hey, you go girl. I guess if I'm having an omelet. She said, I'm also guilty of opting for a sugary cereal or a bagel instead of healthy protein. But hey, that's okay. Sometimes eggs, protein shake, almond butter on my toast. But she's exactly right. When you add more protein, you're full for longer. And so that's it. She prioritizes protein and eats breakfast. So those are two great things. We've talked about this before in other videos about the importance of decision fatigue, and by starting off your day with intention and setting yourself up for success by eating good, healthy, well-balanced breakfast, you're staying full longer, and also you're getting yourself on that mindset of eating healthy and eating well for the day before ish hits the fan. Another good one, always starting with hydration. I talked about this in my morning routine video, that this is something that I've really prioritized. Is when I get up first thing in the morning, I try to rehydrate before I have coffee. I'm a work in progress, just like everybody else. But I have found that when I do this, I definitely feel like I have a more sustained energy than if I'm just drinking caffeine first thing in the morning. So it really is important to prioritize that hydration from both a staying full for longer, because our body can't really understand the difference between hydration cues and hunger cues. So sometimes we just need to drink more water. And it's actually not that we're hungry at all. That was me yesterday. I was like, why am I hungry? I just ate and I drank some water, and it was actually that I was needing to drink water. Because coffee will give you focus and energy, but it actually doesn't give you energy. Food is what gives you energy. And so sometimes what will happen is if you're not well hydrated, the caffeine messes you up. So it's really important that you drink your water before you do a lot of caffeine so that you can rehydrate properly. So another good one for Blake. And listen, if you love this kind of content, I would love if you would come and subscribe and let me be your non-judgy mom friend who comes alongside you to help you reach your health and wellness goals. Prioritize exercise. Again, they talk about how she spends 4 to 5 days a week at the gym, with her workout regimen having changed over the last couple of years. And she trains for an hour other days and just 20 to 30 minutes. No matter how much time she had, she always made movement a priority. So again, talking about how if she's not hitting the gym, she's either working towards getting some steps or doing some sort of like active exercise or activity. If you've been on this channel for very long, you know that that's something I preach about all the time, so I'll stay off my soapbox on this one. So I love that too. And eating a well-balanced diet and never counting calories. All right, so here is where there's good, but then there's something that I don't really like. So eating a well-balanced diet, abso-freaking-lutely. If you've been on this channel at all, you know I preach everything in moderation, right? Work everything into a calorie budget that works for you based on your body and based on your energy expenditure. But Blake talks about eating on the 80-20 rule. Now, as a general rule, I like the 80-20 rule. It means you do you're good 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you do whatever you want. Now, the problem with that from a weight loss or exercise standpoint is that if you're blowing up your spot on the 20%, then the 80% doesn't matter. So like if you're eating well Monday through Friday, but then Saturday and Sunday you completely blow out your calorie budget, you've set yourself up for failure and you've put yourself in a hole that you have to dig your way out of. I talked about this in quite a few early videos, but I'm circling back to it now because I think this is important. And there's nothing wrong with the 80-20 rule as a general rule, but I think the problem is that in order to participate in the 80-20 rule, you already have to have a pretty good idea of like what your average calorie intake should look like, because otherwise you're going to completely blow your spot on your other 2 days. And if you're not trying to lose weight, that isn't as consequential necessarily, but if you're trying to lose weight too, then it's going to most likely keep you from seeing movement on the scale in terms of like weight decrease. So that's something to consider with the 80-20 rule. I don't necessarily like that. For me, and everybody is different, we've talked about this before, you have to do what feels least restrictive for you. And for me, that doesn't feel functional because I feel like you have to have more data about your body, and I just don't know that for your average person that that's going to work, because I see them being like how I was, is like, oh, well, I'm eating like salads and I'm, doing whatever during the week. I'm only eating healthy, right? Hit my microphone again. I'm only eating healthy during the week, so I can have whatever I want on Saturday and Sunday. And again, we end up blowing up our calorie budget that way, and it doesn't function. If you think about like a calorie budget rather than like a per daily average, if you average out like across the board for your total week of calories is what I'm referring to, if that makes sense. I feel like that's an easier way to sort of explain it, because your average calorie intake per day, it doesn't, like one day is not going to matter, but when you do it on a consistent basis, that's when you end up kind of getting in a calorie hole. And I think a better option for you is going to be to figure out what your calorie budget is based on your intake, and then go from there in terms of building out like what you can have and building things into your calorie budget. That's what works best for me. Again, everybody's different, but that's what works best for me. Working that donut into my calorie budget, or working some Oreos into that calorie budget, or whatever. Like let's say you want to eat ice cream every single day. Work that into your calorie budget. You can do it. Have what you want, because when you restrict foods, Blake is exactly right. When you restrict foods, it makes you want it more, and you're much more likely to get into like a binge, purge, guilt cycle, and nobody wants that. Food is fuel. Food is not supposed to make you feel bad about yourself. That is not the point of food. And so we don't want to end up in a place where we end up with an ED or a negative association with food. So overall, I think we can learn a lot from Blake. It seems like she is a relatively, well-balanced chick, and I respect the heck out of that, because I think a lot of celebs want to take, the restrictive way out or the unhealthy way out, and it doesn't seem like she's doing that, and so I give mad props to her for that, and I would 100% recommend this workout and some of the nutrition stuff to you guys as well. And if you love this, you'll love the Miley Cyrus video I did that was similar to this, and I will link that for you right here. And until next time, bye friends!